Everyone, welcome to this tournament game that we've got coming live from the Wingspan tournament Discord server. So this is from the Striolated Manakin Mayhem Cup, which is a new tournament we started in the last week or so on the tournament Discord. And it's a two-stage tournament, so we're beginning with a group stage, which has got 8 groups with 5 players in each. And the top 3 from each group will go through into a knockout phase, which is best of 3 single elimination, and whoever can win that knockout phase is going to be our tournament champion. So just to introduce ourselves, so my name is Flan, I'll be talking you through the game today, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Chop. So hello Chop, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, excellent. I'm excited for this game. Yeah, well,
what a way to be excited by a 3-0 thrashing in the Ashes so far out of the games.
How long did that take you? Was that less than a minute to bring up the Ashes? So
yeah, it was. It really was.
It's impressive. No, there's going to be plenty more of that. So maybe I'm not going to be excellent by the end of this game, but we'll see. But yeah, so again, this is a group match coming from our most recent tournament. So this is in Group A. So we have Lauris and Julius, who are both in Group A, and there is quite a bit of riding on this, Chop. So I know this is your group. Have you got any good insights from playing these players so far?
Well, I've only played one of them so far. I've played Julius, and I'm pretty sure I just got lucky and drew some OP birds early and won, so it was kind of pretty unfair. But I haven't actually played Lauris yet, so yeah, it definitely will be a nice to see how it goes and give me a bit of insight into Lauris's play before I get to play them. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting match. If Lauris wins this, then it's over for the top 3. We kind of lock it in and then find out positions. Whereas if Julius wins this, then it opens the door, and if Julius can win their second game, they could quite easily come in and steal that 3rd place off Lauris at the moment.
Exactly, yep, so all to play for, and yeah, I hope you're not using your position as a commentator to gain insights for your own gain in the tournament.
100%. 100% I am. I'm okay with that as well.
No, fair enough.
No shame.
No, yeah, no shame at all. Cool, okay, so I think we've got both players ready, and it looks like they're both ready to go into the game, so I think we can get this started.
We've already done the coin flip, and
we have indeed.
Julius called heads and won, so
indeed. So Julius will be going first. We can get into the game. Good luck to both players, and yeah, well, let's get this thing started.
Alright. Alright, let's see how we go. What does Julius wake up with to start with? This is... Oh, is that a killdeer in the tray? It's got a much longer German name.
I think it is, yep. So that's absolutely a strong start. Not a whole lot,
especially with
to go with. Maybe the warbler for the forest
with the killdeer.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
You're automatically going to be able to sort of tuck cards through. That looks like a birds in each habitat.
Yeah,
on the left.
I think you're right.
And then I didn't get the one on the right hand side though.
No, this is really testing us. I know we had a game streamed before where one of the players was playing with French.
It was Sim.
We had
French,
yeah,
it's Sim in Chinese.
Yeah,
so.
that was almost impossible for me. The French was difficult enough, but I know absolutely no German, so this is going to be a bit of a slog.
I really should do better, but this will show my age a bit. It's been a long time since I was at school, and I did a couple of years of German in school, but I can count, and that's about it. So, if we start getting the numbers are still numbers, they're not written out. So
no, and you can only just barely count. So I wouldn't hold out much hope for your German.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, interesting that they're going for the canvas back. What are your thoughts on that, given the killdeer in the tray?
I actually would probably do the same, to be honest. I'd then take the same bonus card. I think it's great for 2 of the end of round goals because it is a star nest that holds 4. I think it's a very good starting hand, even if you don't actually activate the bird at all.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, it's good for 3 of the bonuses.
Here we go.
Oh, there
Sorry to cut you off.
No.
Raven versus Killdeer.
Yeah, when a Raven appears, I'm okay with being cut off. So, yeah, this will be an interesting matchup now. How do you call this between Raven and Killdeer, the ultimate showdown?
Well, in my view, and I know there's a few other people that the Killdeer, or the Killgull, as I like to put them in the both the same category, is in my view stronger with house rules.
Yep.
It's a lot easier to start up a forest engine and then play the Killgull, rather than, well, how do you go here with the Raven? There's actually no birds here in their hand to get cards. You can't really pivot too much. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm not a huge fan of the Sparrow here. What would you do out of the Sparrow and the Burrowing Owl?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think, the Sparrow is nice, and I think especially if you do have something like a Raven that is going to be eating eggs, the Sparrow kind of mitigates that by giving you that extra egg, so you don't really feel like you're losing too many points by getting rid of that egg for the Raven. But yeah, I think the glaring omission here is the wetland birds. I mean, there's a couple of nice ones in the tray that certainly work well with the Raven, because you can easily get the food for those birds. I'd be interested to see if they go Goldeneye, because the owl they've got in their hand does have that cavity nest, which will work quite nicely.
I think you have to, knowing that you have the Raven, and this is where it's the information isn't even. So
exactly.
Everyone knows that that Julius has the Killdeer, but only Julius knows that that they have the Raven. So it's really important to pick up that. I'd be denying it straight away. I'd be picking up that Goldeneye instantly.
Well, the Grackles appeared, and as soon as that appeared, I'm thinking you almost have to deny that, because Grackle plus Killdeer is so strong. If you're running Killdeer from round 2 onwards, you're just going to have so many cards, and you kind of, if you have something like the Grackle or any of these tucking birds, you're going to draw a lot of cards that you're not going to actually plan on playing or even have the turns to play. So if you have something like the Grackle, you can at least turn those into extra points.
Yeah, very true, very true.
Yeah, and I think this last move comes down to that point you were making about that information. I think, if Julius had known that Lauris has a Raven, they'd be jumping all over that Goldeneye. But they have left it, which I think, that opens the door for Lauris, knowing that Julius has their Killdeer. They can jump in there and take the Goldeneye. That's Rule 16 in full force. So, for those of you who don't know, Rule 16 is commonly known as, if you take something from the tray, another bird, an even better bird, will come up in its place. So, yeah, Killdeer plus Junko is such a strong combination in the grasslands.
This is interesting. Giving a free card away to your opponent early is a really interesting play. That White Star could really help them kick off.
Yeah, I think even with a Raven, the White Star is so good. They've even got the grub to play it, so they can get that down. And they've got quite a few birds. The Goldeneye, they'll probably try and get that down soon as well. One of the problems, if you do have the Raven in round 1, as we said with the house rules, you can't play it until the start of round 2, so you do get off to a bit of a slower start, but that White Star is going to help get so much more food in order to get those birds down as quickly as possible in round 2.
And the interesting thing is, it's also perfect for the end of round end of round 3 goal as well.
Yep.
It just helps that a little bit more with that. So, I think this is really nice. If I'm probably laying eggs if I'm Julius here, and trying to get that barn owl down, and then really setting up from there.
Yeah, I think they'll be looking to build up their forest, and suddenly you can get 3 food a turn with the White Star as well. So that's going to be so strong for them as they head into round 2.
Yeah, and just 1 turn to be able to set up and then have the food to get your Raven down. Is awesome.
Yeah. So
especially when there's already 2 rats in a tray.
Exactly. Yeah. There's enough food there that they can look to get the Raven and the Goldeneye down as soon as possible. But yeah, if you're Julius here, obviously you can't play your Killdeer until the start of round 2. you've got to try and set things up nicely so that you can play it on that first round. They've gone for eggs. Maybe they're going to go cards again here because they've not really got anything in their hand. I probably wouldn't look to tuck that woodcock because that's such a strong bird. Either. So go for cards here and then start drawing food. Is that your plan?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see what they do here. It is so end of round. It is looking quite comfortable for Julius at the moment. There's just no ability to get any bowls down for.
Yeah, I think Lauris could potentially look to get that grackle down, but I think they would probably prefer the GoldenEye. But I mean, at this rate, with all of these free cards they're getting from the canvas back and such strong cards like this, it's really helping them.
I as much as I love a good chickadee, I don't think this actually helps because you're not going to go to the forest for the rest of the game once you set up the ability to get the raven down. So I'd probably just keep that chickadee as something to be able to tuck in the grackle.
Yeah, and I think at this point you think, okay, do I go grackle early? They've got the food for it. Make sure you at least get something on that end of round. Because I think from Julius's perspective, they are looking comfortable with all those egg spaces, but I don't think they want to be spending too many turns laying eggs here. I think they need to try and focus on getting the food, so that in that second round at the start they can, really get off to a strong start, get the Junco down, get the killdeer down, and then they can just start going grasslands, and that's going to be such a strong engine for them.
Yeah, and so I think if I'm right here, I would go grackle. I would have gone grackle there. I would have then discarded an egg to take cards for my last turn, trying to pick up the swan and the stork, and then tucked the chickadee. That would have given me the 1 point in the egg for the end of round goal to at least compete for it, which at this point in time would be tying it, and would also give me 2 really big, really good bonus big point birds, which I know that I've got the raven to be able to easily get that food for. So that personally would have been my decision on that one.
Yeah, no, I think that would have been a good move, and you're right. The swan and the stork, they can often be tricky to get down because it's 3 food. I think particularly the stork with the fish and the rodent can be difficult to get hold of. But yeah, if you've got a raven, you can so easily get that food. And those are big point birds, with the stork giving the bonus card potential as well. So yeah, it feels like a little bit of a miss. They could still, I suppose,
they can still
go for them.
But
yeah,
you're missing out on tucking and
exactly.
It'll be interesting.
I don't mind too much missing out on this first end of round goal. I know this is something we've discussed before. You only if you're gonna come second, you only get 1 point, so you're only leaving 1 point on the table. But it is still potentially something they could have gone for.
Yeah, the thing with this is slightly different. If your opponent's like already got 4 eggs in there, and it's the difference from laying 1 point, but you can actually really control what your opponent does, because if that situation, instead of getting food and rotating through, knowing that they were going to win, they would have had to have made a decision going, am I happy to tie with this, or do I need to lay 2 more eggs and waste a turn on 2 eggs just to win the end of round? So you actually start to force your opponent to do different things in that situation. And I just think it would have been a much better situation to do it. And they let them go, so they didn't actually even pick up the 2 cards we were talking about either, even though they had the ability to.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point actually. If you can force your opponent to do something that's suboptimal for them, that can really throw off their rhythm. And I think actually in this situation, Julius having that extra turn, being able to go to the bird feeder, they can now so easily get the Junco down and get the killdeer down in 2 turns, and then really start going to work in that grasslands. But if they'd been forced to lay eggs that extra time, that would have just delayed it by 1 turn, and that could potentially make a big difference depending on what comes up in the tray.
Definitely. So I think we're expecting this to be pretty straightforward for both these players for the next couple of turns. They've both got 2 birds that they want to get down pretty quickly. Yep,
exactly. I think Julius will be getting the killdeer down there next turn. do you go Sparrow or do you go Grackle? I think you probably go Sparrow in this situation just to make sure you're at least getting the eggs. There's a lot of egg-heavy end of round goals, and the problem with the Raven is you're just not going to get enough eggs if that's your only bird in the grass, and so I think Sparrow makes sense here.
I don't know. I probably would have played my Raven and then played a Grackle down in the Waterlands and then made a decision around the Sparrow, because you have that Goldeneye and it's going to be so good at generating eggs for you. I don't know that you're also going to need the Sparrow. I think they could end up in a situation here where they can't maximize this, but it'd be interesting to see how this evolves. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, and the Goldeneye, it is going to be so strong for them. They're going to get a lot of eggs, but they've only got those 2 cavity spaces on the owl, and I'm just looking in the tray, and there's that 8-point warbler. It's big point bird, 4 cavity nest spots. That could be so key for just giving some capacity and actually helping get those points from the Goldeneye, because if your egg spaces are full on those cavity nests, you're not going to get the points and you're just missing out.
Yeah, actually the one thing that does lean me towards what Lauris has done here with the Swallow is actually the end of round goal and making sure you do maximize and get 3 or 4 sets down here. I actually think that potentially with that end of round goal that makes this a little bit better, but definitely needs to be smart with where they're placing their eggs, and also making sure they're discarding eggs out of the owl like they appear to be doing.
Yep, I think they're making the right decision here, and it's a good point with this end of round goal. I think certainly Lauris is looking in a strong position. They still,
I don't like that.
They still get 3 eggs a turn, but I think it's a little bit of a miss there, leaving the egg on the cavity nest, because they're probably going to get another one here if Julius lays eggs again, and suddenly you're full. So you're already running into problems.
And where you're getting cards from now and all that sort of stuff. So that's nice.
Perfect.
That is nice. The Violet Swallow.
Yeah, that's a strong card for them. That could potentially work as well, the Chipping Sparrow, but I think at this point, certainly that Swallow, you get that down. It's extra cards, extra tucks. That's a strong move.
I actually probably would have discarded the Chipping Sparrow and kept the Horn Lark. I actually really quite like the Horn Lark when you have a goal. Especially in a game like this where there's going to be a lot of egg generation. So people are going to want to keep laying birds in their grasslands.
Yeah.
It's a 5-point bird. There's 4 egg spaces. It works for the end of round 3 goal. And you could quite easily get a couple of tucks out of it where you're going to have an excessive amount of cards as well.
Yeah, I think the Hornlark does get a bit of a hard time. It can be a strong bird, you're right. 5 points, 4 egg spaces, but just to cut myself off, look at what's come up in the tray. That Sandhill Crane with the Junco is an absolute point bomb of an engine, so that's so strong for Julius, and unfortunate that Lauris had revealed that for them in the tray.
It would have been strong for either of them, to be honest.
Yep. Yeah, they can both easily get the grain. But it'd be an interesting decision, because I sometimes don't like playing the Crane, because it is, it's a lot of points, but if that's your main, food source, that Junco, you're kind of giving that away, and if you do want to play any of these other birds, they've got some nice birds in their hand that are going to get a lot of points. That just means more trips to the bird feeder, and they're not really going to get enough points doing that. So it will be an interesting decision to see what they make here.
Yeah, agreed. I'm interested to see what they do with the Grackle. I actually don't mind the Grackle going in the grasslands now, because they're starting to generate.
Yeah, I think
a couple of eggs, but
the thing that concerns me with that is they don't have great card draw. They've got 2 big point birds in the wetlands, but not anything that gives them extra cards. If they had the canvas back like we see on Julius's board, I think absolutely you could afford to go Grackle in grasslands, because you're getting the card draw, and you can afford to tuck some of those. But I think especially Raven in your grasslands, you want to be drawing as many of those big point birds as possible. So I think there will be a few trips to the wetlands, but I like the Warbler play here. I maybe would have leaned towards Grackle, but I think giving that egg space on the cavity nest, they could already see that was going to be a problem with all those free eggs from the goldeneye. So I like that they've taken the decision to really help that egg space.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be interesting to see where this game ends up. That they've both got some OP birds, but at the same time, not a lot else. I would still have to say that I'm leaning towards the kill goal combination here. He's actually winning this. I don't think there's enough card generation with the Raven to be able to get big point birds to really maximize that.
No, I think I agree. I think Julius is looking in the stronger position at the moment. I just want to pick up on something that Lauris has done in their last turn. So they had the opportunity, I think, to skip the Raven. Had they done that, they would have been able to get 3 eggs in each habitat and win this end of round goal. Having used the Raven, they are now going to tie this. So it's always an interesting thing when something like that happens. You don't like to skip a power like the Raven because it is strong, but it does seem to have cost them a few points here, tying that end of round goal instead of winning it.
Yeah, that's 3 points that definitely could have been given away. Oh, another pink power.
Yep, and this time
it's
Julius going first, I think. So I'd be all over that if I was him.
Oh, he looks like he's.
Well, he can
up food though.
He can tuck with the warbler. So yep, get rid of the kestrel, and I think you have to go pink power here. That's so strong, and it helps with this end of round goal as well with that growl nest. So that's a strong position.
10 egg spaces in the enclosure nests as well, so there's plenty of space there.
Yeah, it's the perfect bird, really. Something, just that second wetland bird, and it's not something you're going to be actively using in your wetlands. It can just passively sit there and do its egg power as the game goes on. But yeah, all of those ground nest spots, the third end of round goal as well, and they can easily get the food for that as they've already done. So yeah, I think that's a no-brainer, really, getting that avocet down.
Yeah, I think I actually almost play it instantly, seeing as I can't get the food that I want. I'd use a grain, a slug, and then the cherry and the rat to just get that avocet down and maximize it.
Yeah, agreed. I think if there was a grub in the feeder, maybe you spend one more turn going for that and just getting the food, because you're probably going to need that food at some point anyway. But yeah, given there's no grubs there, I think force the avocet down, and the sooner you get it down, the more points it's going to get you. So absolutely, I think that makes sense. What do you make of this then, Lauris? Going grackle in the wetlands?
I'm not a fan, to be honest. I think it's too late.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one. I think they almost needed that third wetland bird to at least give them the opportunity to get more cards. The chickadee's not great. The chat, probably one of the worst birds in the game in my opinion. So you're not going to look to play either of those. It is tricky. I think it at least gives them the option of getting that third card, and more likely than not, of those 3 cards, they're going to see one that they're not going to want to play. So they're always going to have options to tuck something, even those 2 birds in their hand. So
exactly.
I don't mind it necessarily, but yeah, it's all going to come down to the card draw. It depends entirely on what they can get.
I don't like them. I don't like the dove. Dove's dead for me at the moment. But I don't mind this flycatcher. If you can get enough food to do the flycatcher and the blackbird at the same time.
Yeah, that's strong. They have got a lot of those cavity nests. And you can easily get the food.
More cavity nests.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But I don't like the morning dove. I think this is way too late for a 0-point bird.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing they might be looking at is their bonus card. I didn't quite catch how many seed birds they've already got and how close they are to filling that. But yeah, a 0-point bird.
They got 4
this late in the game.
It is 1.
It's tricky. It is going to give eggs, but this is the point where you start planning ahead and you think, okay, how many turns am I going to spend laying eggs? Is it 4, 5, 6, 7 turns? That's how many eggs you're going to get from the dove. That's how many points it's going to be worth. Is it worth doing that, or is it worth going for something else? I think that combo you picked out with the bluebird and the flycatcher, that is so strong. That's going to be a big point combination, and also actually extends their grassland. So when they are laying eggs, they're already going to get those extra eggs just from having those extra birds. So yeah, that could have been a good option, but I feel like by leaving it, they've sort of committed to the dove now.
Yeah, so the morning dove does give them the extra grain. So it is a 3-point bird minus the 1 egg that would. Well, actually, it's going to be minus 2 eggs because you're going to play the bluebird with it, but it's going to be it's basically a 1-point bird that's going to give you a couple of extra eggs. But I don't think eggs is going to be what Julius needs to focus on in this game.
No,
because they've got the golden eye, they've got the sparrow, and they're going to be smashing that egg row the whole time. So, I definitely think that's a mistake in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. I think you're right. They've only got 10 egg spaces remaining. Every time Julius lays eggs, which seems to be every turn at this rate, they get another one filled up, and they're already getting 3 from their grass, and so it is going to fill up quite quickly. I just want to switch back to Julius because we have looked at Lauris for a bit. They have gone for the crane and the swallow in their grassland. So, do you think this is a bit of a signal that they're just going to spam eggs and use that grain from the junco for the tucks instead of playing birds?
Yeah, I think so. Although they can't do that solely, right? So they're going to be getting 4 eggs minus 3, so 3 eggs a turn, and they've got 7 turns left. Including this one that they're currently doing, which is 21, and they've only got 10 egg spaces left. So I think they have to be a little bit smart about this. They might need to do 1 turn to get some food, enough to be able to lay that big 9-point bird there. I think it's the American woodcock?
Yeah, it's the woodcock.
To lay that, and I'd be doing that with the last turn. So I'd basically be going on my 6th, so my second last turn. I would have the grain from the junco. I would then plan to pick up 2 food, potentially use the that second forest bird there, and then lay that with my last turn. I think would be my plan here. But yeah, basically 5 of the next 7 turns would be just smashing eggs.
Yep, agreed. I think that grasslands is so strong. You're getting 7 points a turn from activating it. If you can do that as much as possible, that is such a strong point scoring engine. But yeah, it's those egg spaces that are going to be the problem. I think what they do have to their advantage is that they do have the egg space now. So like you said, they can spend the next 4 turns or so just running that grasslands. They're going to cycle through lots of cards with the swallow and the killdeer. I think what they're probably going to be looking for is that second wetland bird. That will help their bonus card. But if you get something like a whooping crane or a puffin or something like that, especially with those 2 fish in the bird feeder, I think that's going to be the kind of card they look for. So yeah, time is on their side. They can spend a few turns cycling through cards, and then hopefully make that decision on food at the last possible moment and get that bird down right at the end.
Yeah, and they're set up really nicely. They don't even have to really stress about end of round goals. They should win both of them pretty comfy at the moment. It does look like Lauris has ended up going with the Striolated Forest Catcher, but interesting play that they went with the Morning Dove first, and now they're planning to kind of do what we were suggesting. So, bit of an interesting order to do this in.
Yeah. I think if you are going to go Dove, you want to get it down as soon as possible.
It's true.
0 points. You want to really maximise as many eggs as possible from it. That fly catching can go down at any point because it's only gonna activate once. But yeah, I think it is the right decision. They've gone for it. They can easily get the food for the bluebird and the fly catcher. That just extends their grasslands, as we said. But yeah, I think that's all they can do at this point. Is kind of both players just do the egg spam, run that grasslands, try and maximise the points. But I think for me, Julius's engine at the moment is just looking a lot stronger in terms of the point scoring opportunities.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be close.
No.
I've sort of said that before, but I think it's quite clear.
Yeah, I think even just the end of round goals, Julius won that first one 4-0, They tied the second one, and like you said, it looks like Julius has got rounds 3 and 4 completely locked down as well. So in a 2-player game like this, if you can win 3 out of those 4 end of round goals, it's so difficult to come back from that. For your opponent, you've got to score highly in a lot of categories.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's such a strong advantage because any points that you've gained, it's points you're taking from your opponent as well. So you get that double whammy.
One thing that I think is interesting that I've just realised they didn't play is that they did actually tuck that adverset. They did not play that. They just purely picked it up as a deny.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't spotted that. I wonder if they just wanted to prioritise getting the crane and the swallow down. They did have a lot of food, but a lot of it was the seeds. Not many grubs in order to get that swallow down. So yeah, it's an interesting decision point. Obviously that adverset would have got them a lot of eggs. But I don't mind what they've done here. I think they have built a really strong engine, like we said, and they just have to hope on the card draw, see what big point birds they can get, and hopefully get that down at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think they're definitely not short of eggs, so
no.
You can sort of forgive that, and you do sometimes just have to make a choice and really focus on what you're doing and create that engine.
Yeah, and it is such a strong engine. You look at the points that they're getting compared to Lauris's engine. It's not even close. I think Julius was probably ahead, even sort of going into that start of round 3, but they've really extended that lead, I think, with this engine. So it could be a bit of a battering here in the final scores. Yeah,
I'll be interested just to make sure that that Julius just makes this really clean near the end in regards to making sure that because look, they've only got 8 egg spots left. How do they play this? Do they make sure that they get that American woodcock down? What do they do to maximize this?
Yeah, I think it is easy to get sloppy in these situations, where you have such a strong engine, you have so many strong birds down. It's easy to just kind of sit back and switch off and relax a little bit. There's so many key decisions still for them to make. I think you're right, the egg spots are filling up quickly. At some point they're going to have to go to that bird feeder. We say this time and time again in this game, it's about knowing when to stick with what you have and knowing when to twist and gamble with the deck. They've still got that 9-point woodcock in their hand that could so easily go in that grasslands or in that forest. It's 9-point bird. It's a lot of points, so that's going to free up some egg spaces as well for them.
What do you think about Lauris going to the deck and picking up cards?
I'm not sure why you would do that. I think it looked pretty clear, at least from our perspective, what they do for the rest of this game. You run the grasslands, get the food to play your bluebird and your flycatcher. I mean, I know they're running out of egg spots at the moment, but I think those 2 birds between them have sort of 8 or 9 egg spaces, in addition to the 4 that you're going to get from paying the eggs to play those birds. So I don't really think they needed to go birds again. It feels like a slightly odd decision there. I think that it looked pretty clear, at least from our perspective, what they should have done.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting thing as well is that just to rub salt in the wound, Julius has pulled out the prairie mouse.
Indeed, yeah.
The other half of Kilgull.
Yeah, maybe too late to get it down now, but it's that'll be one to sit in their hand at the end of the game, and when Lauris flicks over, they can go, "What? They had both."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about Lauris now, considering they've gone for the birds. They picked up that flycatcher and they have the food to play it, but then they've chosen not to play it. Why would you pick it up and not play it now?
I think they're just thinking. I think they're planning to play the flycatcher, but I think they're going to actually play the bluebird with it. So,
okay.
I think they're just. But I don't know. My opinion would be it would have been. Oh, what is this? They're not going that. They're going the.
Are they going Roadrunner?
The Roadrunner.
I think they're going Roadrunner.
For a point less and a really weak engine.
Yeah, that feels a little bit odd. This is the point where you get your calculator out. So I don't know if you want to do the honours, but you look at how many eggs you're going to get from that other flycatcher that lays all the eggs. you just count up your cavity nest spaces, and that's going to tell you how many eggs you get from it. I don't really think at this point that Roadrunner. Exactly. I don't think the Roadrunner is going to make enough difference compared to that flycatch with all the eggs you get.
So the play would have been a great 9-point play by playing the Bluebird and the.
Yeah, that's huge.
Whereas this is actually even less. This is less points. This is 11, but minus the 4 egg points brings it all the way down to 7. So this is where people get sucked in by not doing the maths and not really just taking the time to work out which play is actually better.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well, what they've done is they've used all their food, so they don't even have the option now of discarding a food for that extra egg. That is something that you can use the Raven for. I know it does cost the egg to get 2 food, but if you've extended your grasslands all the way, you can then turn those 2 food into 2 eggs. So you're at least still making some usage out of it, but they've kind of missed that opportunity here.
Agreed. Very, very odd decision here, because the Roadrunner is just not going to be that successful that often to make up the points.
No, not at all. So just going back onto Julius, I think they did go for food. On one of their recent turns, they picked up a couple of fish. So do you think they'll look to get that Merganser down, just free up some egg spaces, and then they can still run their grasslands one more time?
Bonus card was?
It's the least birds in habitat. Yeah. So
so that will be a solid 7-point bird minus the 1 egg, so 6 points for laying that bird.
Yeah, and it's got lots of egg spaces, which they need really if they're going to run that grasslands one more time. They can look to fill up those egg spaces and still at least maximise that 7-point engine they've got. Yeah,
I don't know that I probably would have. Look, I wasn't paying attention at the bird feed at the time, but I probably would have really tried to find the food for that American woodcock. They're already going to have 1 grain. I think you could have taken 2 food and then tried to take an extra 1 and just got, all you needed was 1 slug then and get a grain on the second reroll, and you would have been pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think the only difficulty with that is that may have left them without a seed for that last turn laying eggs, so they would have had to skip the Sandhill Crane, so that would cost 2 points.
Okay, fair enough.
That might have been something playing on their mind. But yeah, again, it's another classic. Do the maths, count up how many points you get, how many points you lose. But yeah, I think the Merganser was an okay play and certainly helped out their bonus card.
Yeah.
And there we go.
We have to stop telling people to ruin the sweat on us. The snap click. Look at that tuck. 32.
Yeah, I think we knew what the result was going to be. It was more just about the margin, and it was all those tuck cards at the end that they got on that crane, on the swallow, and on the junco. That's just huge, and it's so hard for Lauris to come back from that. Given the losses that they took in those end of round goals as well.